Hello and welcome to Community Chats. I'm your host, Aley Hammer, and today we're joined with David Link, the CEO and founder of Verrency. David, thank you so much for being here today. And for those who don't know, can you start by telling us a little bit about Verrency?
Thanks, Aley. It's really good to be here. Verrency is a SaaS platform that accelerates payments innovation for banks. So we're an industrial grade platform, and we're designed specifically for issuing banks, the outsourced processors that serve them. These are players such as FIS and First Data, and card networks such as Visa, MasterCard, and local debit networks such as EftPos. And what Verrency does is Verrency standardizes delivery of value-add services, which includes third parties. So we have a network of third-party fintechs that we enable. And essentially this enables banks to deliver services, new services, in about 70% less time and cost, and to do so very securely. And these kinds of services, these are services that help consumers to save more, to do good in the world, and to choose what they want from their bank. So it's everything from getting personalized benefits delivered to you, to saving as someone spends, donating to charity as you spend, even carbon offset. And what makes Verrency unique is that we enable these services specifically over top of a bank's existing legacy infrastructure. So it's not a replacement, which means we enable incumbents. And as a company, we are global. We're in 5 regions around the world, and we're currently live with 16 banks, 1 processor, and 1 network.
Wow, incredible. It's so amazing to hear how Verrency is making innovation accessible and achievable to so many people. So what I want to know is, what is the benefit for your customers in being able to build and grow without having to manage all the heavy lifting themselves?
Yeah, well, the thing about customers as banks, very specifically, they get to engage their customers more, and they get to do so on a personalized level. And if you take it back a level, this really enables banks to compete and even differentiate themselves with, either the most modern banks or modern fintech, B2C or business to consumer players, and enables them to do so now finally with very little investment. So you see, COVID has changed the playing field for banks around the world in every single country. So all consumers around the world now expect digital access. I mean, my father's using Zoom and paying for things digitally. And so now that every bank in the world is at that level, how do they differentiate themselves? And that's what Verrency does. Verrency helps accelerate these types of ecosystem services that actually enable a bank to differentiate themselves.
Wow. I mean, and here at AWS, we know that different customers require different solutions. So what a fantastic way to help other fintechs and financial institutions build on their own terms. And what have you found are the biggest benefits of being on the cloud for your customers?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a really good question because that cuts to the core of AWS. So we think of it on 2 levels. So one's a very, I'll call it a tactical level of cloud. Our clients are banks and they're processors, and we are global. We have clients all over the world, and those banks have data processing regulations and requirements. We need to be near them in every single country. So AWS enables us to automatically spin up our instances in an hour or so in the US, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere that our clients are. So that's the number 1 benefit. But secondly, if you really think of cloud, what's actually cloud about? Cloud is about the ability to procure computing services that, on an OpEx basis, kind of per service, where previously you actually had to spend an awful lot of CapEx to do so. So, if you looked 5 years ago, even 7 years ago, you'd have to be buying servers and building a data center in order to do what we're doing with Verrency. And that's the real benefit, is in being able to do things by the drink wherever they're needed without the CapEx spend. Because a service like Verrency's, while it theoretically could have been done about 6 or 7 years ago, even if you assume advancements of APIs and everything else, it would have just been too expensive. You could have done it once, but we couldn't have implemented it easily around the world. And that's what AWS and that's what cloud brings us, is that continual advancement of being able to get specific services where we need them, when we need them, on a per use basis.
Well, I mean, I can always tell when someone's, a global company because you've got your clocks behind you. So I can see you're managing all the different time zones. And David, something really exciting, towards the end of last year, news broke that Verrency partnered with eftpos on a card-linked loyalty solution. That was amazing. Can you tell us about the process and what exactly does this mean for consumers?
Yeah, so Verrency has multiple processors and card network clients around the world because that's exactly who we're built for. We're built for that level of kind of industrialized processing. And we are really proud of the relationship with our client eftpos, working with CEO Stephen Benton his team specifically to bring innovation to all Australians around the way that they pay. And so what Verrency and eftpos are doing together is Verrency enables eftpos to very easily interact with fintechs on the issuing side. And in first instance, specifically, we are enabling third-party fintechs that operate in the Australian market, many of whom are AWS clients and users, to interact with eftpos, and specifically so that their consumers who receive rewards from these third parties, so parties such as Loyalty Now, Pocket Pal, Cash Rewards, that those consumers can also use their eftpos card or under low-cost routing, which is a regime here in Australia, pay with their multi-network debit card and receive rewards and benefits now very accessible if the merchant's using the eftpos network. So for consumers, it's essentially making the eftpos network more ubiquitous. And rewards players are just the first step. There will be other fintechs to follow.
Wow, what an exciting development. It really is an amazing achievement. And David, we're mixing things up a little bit this month, and we're asking our partners, what do you think will be the next big thing in the world of tech? I memean, I know it's a huge question, but what do you think's coming up that's going to blow all our minds?
Yeah, well, it's a really good question, Aley. So I'll answer it on 3 levels. So I think first, we're going to see in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot more firms like Verrency, which is we're enabling incumbents. Because you look at the wave, and I'll speak of fintech because that's the world we play in, and obviously there are other industries. But the very first wave of innovation that came out of fintech was B2C or direct, business to consumer. This second wave that we're really in now is very much focused on B2E or business to enterprise. It's about enablement of incumbents and bringing market infrastructure and different infrastructure and changing that infrastructure fairly significantly. So we're only on the tip of that right now. Verrency's a first mover in its space, and there are plenty of others as well. You're going to see far more of that. Secondly, you're really going to start to see the impact of data and data analytics. Up till now, it's really been low-hanging fruit. There hasn't really been much impact on consumers and others' lives related to analytics. And so you're going to now, as different types of firms, including such as Verrency's Advance, you're going to really start to see things that impact people's lives. So for example, if you're a bank and I've got cutting-edge analytics that tell me that you've just had a baby, or take another example that you are not happy and you are very likely going to be leaving my bank, or at least using me an awful lot less. Well, working directly with Verrency, all of a sudden, you can receive some benefits that are very valuable to you that you go, oh, it's going to cause me to change my mind or be very relevant and topical to you. So we're going to start to see those very business process related analytics now coming to fruition. And then lastly, with AWS, if you look at what we're really excited about, because it is all about data, Aurora Serverless V2. So it's a SQL Server engine, but yet it's got the scalability of Aurora and it's serverless. So it's the continual advancement of, what AWS started with was block computing power. And now it's getting to very, very fine level services that can be consumed by the drink. And so those are the things that I think we'll see, and also that we're excited about as well.
I think it's an amazing company, and we're just so proud of what you've achieved. So thank you so much for partnering with us. And to all our viewers at home, we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Aley.